We got Guy Veilleux with us here today from Platinum Renovations. Guy, what is it exactly that you do?
Well, Dan, we take care of all residential renovations, from minor repairs to complete major restructuring. So we'll take care of facelifts to redoing kitchens, bathrooms, basements, to open concepts, additions, decks, interior, exterior work, wide range of services.
Good stuff. And full disclosure, obviously I'm with DORE Property Management. We use your services on a regular basis. You helped us finish our office. You've done work for family, for friends. So obviously we trust you very much, and obviously hoping to introduce you to even wider array of people in the marketplace that would benefit from your services.
Perfect.
So when somebody hires Platinum Renovations, do they deal with you specifically? Like who do they deal with?
So I'm the face from the beginning right to the end. So they deal with me. Any questions get directed to me in person, email, text, whatever the case is, I'm available. So I make sure that I have full knowledge of the process from A to Z.
Fair enough. So if I understand correctly, and this has been my experience, is we're not turned down to a project manager or anything of that nature. If we have any questions, concerns, any issues whatsoever, we get the answers directly from you.
Correct. That's right.
Okay,
Exactly.
so we're not passed along to anybody.
Yep. Exactly.
So if a project needs a permit of some sort, who handles that? Does the client has to do that, or do you do that?
No, Platinum Renovations takes care of all permitting applications and whatnot. So we make sure that anything that does require a permit is opened up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you would take care of dealing with the city municipality,
That's
getting
right.
done, dealing with the inspectors if they need to,
everything.
making sure they're closing it out. So the client can really hand you over the project and let you handle it, and you take care of it.
We offer turnkey service. So they give us the keys to the house. We take care of making sure that all the projects are done. Any subcontractors, we take care of all those, the scheduling and whatnot, inspections, everything that needs to go through the process of completing the project, and then we hand back the key.
Sounds good. How long have you been in business?
Over 25 years.
Okay. And insurance, I'm assuming you have liability insurance. Like, how does that work for a client? You know, obviously you'd be walking into somebody's place.
Yes.
Like, for insurance purposes, how is that handled? Is that you make sure the client is well covered? So
we make sure that we tell all clients that we're us as Platinum Renovations, we're insured for $5 million. Which is a requirement for a lot of work and a lot of businesses, if I do work for businesses. And it's a reassurance for the homeowner to know that we do have sufficient coverage for insurance. Yeah.
So if a client wanted to see your liability certificate, obviously you'd be able to supply that.
Yep,
no
absolutely.
issues to make sure that
full disclosure. Yeah.
Fair enough. And if they wanted to talk to past clients, is that something you offer, past references or somebody to
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no issues. Ahead of time, once we finish one of the jobs that we're done, we ask if we're able to use them as a reference, so that to expect a phone call or any kind of sort of feedback on the project that was completed for them.
Okay. And what kind of what methods of payment people can use for services? Is there multiple different ways they can pay you, or
so most popular way is e-transfer. People are very comfortable with those. We could do a bank transfer as well from one bank to the other with a 3% upcharge on the bill. You can even do credit card payments as well, but most people do prefer e-transfer.
Okay, sounds good. So you'd offer credit card payments if somebody wished
if they would like to.
Okay, sounds good. And what about guarantees? Like, do you guarantee your work? Like, and if so, for how long? What does that look like from a client perspective?
We do. So we offer a 10-year guarantee on our workmanship. Manufacturer guarantee is based on the manufacturer of the product, right? But we will return to address any concerns that there might have come up as time goes on.
Okay.
But we do offer a 10-year guarantee.
A 10-year guarantee. Okay, sounds good. And when it comes to materials, do you pick the material? Does the client pick the material? Either or, like how does that work?
So that depends. So the building material, we take care of that. That's standard stuff. We have access to a designer that can help with anything that's sort of specific taste style. The homeowner would get involved for sure because they need to make sure that they like what's being installed, right? So tiles, paint colors, cabinetry, the look of the flooring, the style. It's sort of it's very much a customer involvement project, right? At the end of the day, it's their house or their project being completed. So we like to make sure that they're involved as much as possible, but we take care of the ordering, picking up the material, we make sure that it's delivered on time, all those things. They don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Okay, so I sense there's some flexibility, meaning that if somebody doesn't want to, so say for example, we deal with rental properties, and I say, Guy, we need to hit this budget, and we need certain aspects to be hit without necessarily having to choose every knob or every tile or everything, then you'd be open to taking care of it completely.
Absolutely.
And if somebody wants a more customized type renovation where they actually want to pick the tile or the size or the color or the exact spec, then you're open to working with them in that respect as well.
Absolutely. So let's say if it's a property management side and that's sort of standard, we would go over those standards ahead of time, and then they wouldn't have to worry about it. We would have a list of the materials that they would prefer to have in their rentals, and we just keep those lists and we just get those as we go. This way, there's no need to converse back and forth every time.
Fair enough. And I'm assuming, as with a lot of renovations, that sometimes involves licensed professionals, whether it's plumbers, electricians, and so on. I'm assuming you're not the one doing that. You're how does that work?
That's right. So with a specific trade, whether it comes to electrical, heating and cooling, plumbing, we always have our regular electricians, plumbers, HVAC technicians that we would use regularly. So I know their work and I know what they're capable of.
Fair enough. So people you've known in the past and that you can deal with, and obviously that would work under your umbrella.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And I know there's a couple of concerns, obviously, when we deal with contractors, especially in projects that involve multiple days or weeks or, heaven forbids, months, on having consistent work done on the project on a regular basis. So we hear these stories where you get contractors that get several jobs all at the same time, and next thing you know, you have your job that's supposed to be done in 3 weeks, a month, 6 weeks, whichever, and next thing you realize that there's already somebody there working every few days because they're spread too thin. So, if somebody hires you, I know my experience, but I'll let you, divulge exactly how you work. But if I'm hiring you to do work on a project, what is the expectation from the client, right? In terms of actually having work done on a daily basis or to be completed on time? Like, how does that work to make sure that we don't get, get involved in a situation where all of a sudden you've got multiple jobs on the go, and next thing you know, my job is supposed to be done, and where's the contractor, where's this guy, and so on. And obviously, when I'm in real estate, and when properties are not available, then it's we get additional vacancy. It costs a lot more money than it needs to. So it's important, and when we deal with a guy with a contractor, that the work be done on time, and that obviously you mentioned you're accessible. That's been our experience. But just like, how does that work? What is the expectation from a client's perspective in terms of, daily activity or nights, weekends, that, get stuff done? Like, what does that look like?
So I like to kind of go over the scope of work with the homeowner or whoever the project is being done for. And as much as possible, develop some kind of a plan as far as how things are going to get done and when they're going to get done. Depending on the process and what the next step is, there could be a delay of time because of drying or whatever the case is, and sort of working with the next steps. Very rarely will we have an extended period of time without anybody there, right? We want to make sure that the project runs as smooth as possible, and that we're done on time based on how we discussed in the initial meeting.
So if I understand you correctly, if there was any anticipated delays, whether it's for material back order or something to that effect, then the client should be made aware beforehand and not necessarily show up on their project one week and say, "Hey, there's nobody here working. What's the what's happening, right? So
That's right.
Am I understanding correctly?
That's correct. Yeah. So the communication is key for us, right? We want to make sure that people know what's happening, even though there's going to be maybe a small period of time where there's going to be nobody at the house or at the business. We try to make sure that as much of the planning is done ahead of time with what needs to be ordered, so that we're not waiting on material for an extended period of time because it wasn't ordered, right? So, we don't have any control over the manufacturer delays or whatever the case is, right? But we do every effort possible to make sure that everything is in and ready to go when we need it. If there is a period of time, yes, the 100% the owner will be notified so that they're not expecting somebody. They can plan their week or their days or whatever the case is with their families and whatever the case is. Now, just to make sure everybody knows, like, we don't work Saturday or Sunday, right? It's Monday or Friday. It's busy enough and hectic enough during the week, with everything in and out. We want to make sure that there's that break for Saturday and Sunday for people, so that they don't have to deal with this 7 days a week.
And if a project had a time sensitive expiry date, are you open to making sure that project continues?
We are open as long as it's okay with the homeowner.
Okay, sounds good. So if I understand correctly, and I mean, I'm putting it into perspective, because obviously I'm assuming that some of the people who listen to this are not necessarily homeowners, but they may be, landlords, have rental properties where, if that was the case, we're not quite concerned if it's Saturday or Sunday. If the unit's vacant, it's really about getting the unit ready on time, as opposed to respecting my time. So I can appreciate that if I'm living in the house and I got family obligations during the weekend, and you're offering to say that you won't come in, and that's fair. But on the other side, I mean, not from experience, when we were doing the office here, I would show up at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and you were here making sure that the project was being done. So I think that's important for somebody who's not necessarily homeowner to understand that my experience, and maybe you can reconfirm if that's still the case, or if that was just a one-off, but that we can rely on you to make sure that the project will be done when it's expected to be done.
That's right.
Right?
Okay. So if a time-sensitive project needs to get completed, absolutely, we'll be there. So if it takes until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, on a case by case. Yep. So if it's a landlord and there's nobody at the dwelling, or if it's a business and where the case is, we can come in and stay later, or come in on a weekend if we need to.
Yep.
And that's okay. But I also want to respect the contractors' time that are coming in, depending on who it is and whatever the case is. But we will definitely make every effort at that point for sure to make sure that we get it done, on time.
Yep.
And again, on the flip side, if the homeowner is more than okay with, a Saturday, going in and taking care of what needs to get done so that we're on time and on schedule for the next period, no problem. Yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough. And I mean, the elephant in the room, obviously, in this trade, as we all know, is you hear of all these scams that happen, right? Where contractors will show up, they'll ask for a deposit, then either they don't show up to do the work, or worse yet, then they start doing the work, and all of a sudden they ask for additional deposits, and then the homeowners aren't paying attention, or the client's not paying attention, and they get swiped, where either contractor goes under, or all of a sudden doesn't come back to finish the work. And obviously I can appreciate that for a client, that's a big concern. So obviously a big concern to me. But from a standpoint, like, how do you make somebody, reassure a client that obviously is not the case? I mean, my understanding is, obviously, you're very active on social media, so you will be able to see your presence. We'll be able to see what you're doing. Our experience with you and your organization have been very positive, but it's it's one of those things where a lot of clients are concerned about what that will look like. So how do you reassure somebody in making sure that if I'm hiring Guy, Platinum Renovations, that I'm not going to be in a situation where I hand over a deposit, and next thing you know, I don't hear from you?
Yeah, so it's an ongoing concern, unfortunately. Yes, there are many instances where people, have a valid concern as to contractors coming in, not showing up. And it ranges from not necessarily coming in and taking your money and not coming back, but I've seen situations where people would come in, take the money, go in for maybe a week or two, do a little bit of work, take out whatever is there as far as what might be valuable, kitchen cupboards, whatever the case is, and leave and then not come back. So there are those situations. So in our case, yeah, we do. We're exposed. We're in social media, and whatever the case is, like we don't hide behind a hammer, saying, okay, you know what, we don't want anybody to see or know us, just in case something like this would come up. So we're a very reputable company. We do what we say, and we say what we do, right? So it's just a matter of making sure that we educate people on who we are and what we do, and it's important. That's why we want to give as many references as possible so that they can hear our past experiences and that, yeah, they did show up and complete the job. And, here's some photographs, here's, and in some cases, some people, if they're comfortable with it, they can maybe go see the house, right? And see, people are proud of the work that we've done.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big way for people and companies to be able to, prove themselves in that sense as not being in that category that they're going to scam anybody.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And I know for us, I mean, me being in business for over 25 years and owning real estate, speed of trust when you deal with people, with vendors is crucial. Meaning that, what our past experience obviously helps us make decisions. And though we're not going into the screening process with contractors every single time, we have work to be done. So obviously, want to take the opportunity to highlight your services. You've been very good to us. And if we can have your services be benefit to other people, then hopefully we can assist in that regard. So, yeah. Any other questions? Perhaps I didn't ask that maybe I should have asked her.
And just to touch on the reassurance, because scams and everything is a big concern for a lot of people, and it's that comfort factor. It's like get to know the contractor, right? And that's very important. So these questions that were asked today are questions that you should be asking all the time when you speak to a contractor, right? To get that better feeling of is he reputable? Is that company experienced enough to do the work in my house, right? Is he respectful, right? Because at the end of the day, you can do a great job, but the place could be a mess. Another question that could be asked is, do you protect my furniture? Do you protect my floors? Do you do containment when you're doing a demolition? We do all of those things. We want to make sure that we protect your valuables and the content in your house, and out of respect for you and your home. Right. And I think that's, as a homeowner, that's the way I would want to see people coming in to my house. Rather, so if it's an HVAC guy coming in and taking care of a furnace replacement or cleaning, I want to see mats going on the floor so they don't dirty all the floors going down to the furnace room.
Yeah,
right. So that's key. There's a lot of factors involved in educating a homeowner, and I think they're all valid questions.
Fair enough. And I know for my part also. Always look at dedication. So my understanding is this all you do. You're not splitting your time doing this part time. There's a lot of times people doing this job will do this nights and weekends. I see you drive a vehicle that's fully lettered, so it's not little magnets sitting on the truck. It's you're committed. Puis je pense que tu peux nous servir aussi en français.
Oui,
c'est ça. T'es francophone, fait que si on a une clientèle francophone. Les gens peuvent communiquer avec toi en français, puis c'est pas un problème.
Oui, absolument. Écrit et aussi on peut parler en français. Il y en a qui préfèrent des contracteurs en français parce que les autres ne comprennent pas anglais.
C'est ça.
Sont plus confortables en parler en français. Parfait. Bon, il n'y a pas de problème avec ça.
Great. Perfect, Guy. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. And if people want to learn a bit more about you, how do they reach you? I guess you got a website?
I do have a website, platinum-renovations.ca.
Can you repeat that?
Platinum-renovations.
Platinum-renovations.ca.
Yeah, with an S.
Okay.
It's and from there you can actually link onto my Facebook.
Okay.
You can learn what I do. You'll see my videos of the work that I've done or that's in progress.
Yeah.
That's another way that we don't hide behind the curtain.
Yeah.
As well as Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram, check things out there, and see the updates on the projects that are on.
Okay. And are you on YouTube as well? I think you.
It's YouTube is coming on, so that we can we're trying to spread out the social media as much as possible.
Perfect.
To reach as many people as we can.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.